Major League Journeymen, of course, you know that the three biggest mouths on the internet have to have some opinions on the U.S. men's national team, and we certainly do. We just have the right ones. Let's chop it up because it was also a big weekend in MLS. We got some thoughts. Here we go. Major League Journeymen back in the house. I love when Dax just comes fresh off the airplane, straight from the big bright lights in the studio in upstate Connecticut. And and we get Gordo, who is hiding in his camouflage Nike sweatshirt. It's just, we cover the entire spectrum here, folks, because I'm sitting in between two of the most knowledgeable and most charismatic guys that are talking about soccer in this country right now. I want to start off, Dax McCarty and Alan Gordon, with, I thought, a pretty wild headline today in Laurent Courtois being sacked from CF Montreal 5 games into the season. They are admittedly not in great form. I think 4-1 through 5 games. They are starting their season off 7 games on the road, have not picked up the points that obviously anybody would hope to pick up, but are also playing without Jalen Neal, without Veroni, without some of the offseason acquisitions. They are going through a new GM. There's a lot going on, and Courtois gets handed the pink slip 5 games into the season. Dax, your initial reaction to seeing this news today?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I tweeted that word, ridiculous. It's absurd. It's absurd for this team and for this ownership group to think that with the resources they are providing this club, that they can be successful in MLS. Carlo Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola, prime Sir Alex Ferguson would not be able to have success in Montreal. No, it actually really grinds my gears, and that's putting it nicely, because I thought Laurent Courtois did a great job last year. They are, if you were to go down the list of MLS teams, 1 to 30, and just rank them based on just talent alone, which of course doesn't win you trophies, but it helps, okay? Having talent helps, okay? But if you were to rank them, you would have them bottom 3. You'd have them 28, 29, 30 in terms of pure talent, and that's just a fact. That's reality. And then Laurent Courtois, last year, he coaches this team up. He has them playing as kind of a Columbus Crew light, if you will. He's a Wilfred Nancy site.
Fair. Yep.
So they play high risk, high reward soccer. They play out of the back. And listen, Laurent Courtois, you can make the argument that maybe he doesn't have the player personnel to play like that. But I love the fact that he sticks to his principles. I love the fact that he sticks to what he believes in, even if he doesn't have the pieces to do it. And it got him to the playoffs last year. They ran into a 37-year-old ginger buzzsaw in the playoffs.
What are you going to do when you run into those guys? There's not much you can do.
What are you going to do when you run into, Atlanta United with Dax McCarty in there? What are you going to do? So, in all seriousness, though, this year you start 7 games on the road, and I don't know. You guys probably haven't seen much of Montreal. I've seen a decent amount of them when I'm on 360. They've been pretty unlucky. Like they don't really defend that well, but they've hit.
Admittedly, I haven't seen a ton of them play. They've
been in most games. The second half against Nashville, they fell apart and they lost 3-0. They conceded 3 goals in the second half against Nashville, but for the most part, in every other game, they were pretty good and they were creating chances. They do not have a high level number 9.
Right.
And they have a designated player in Giacomo Veroni who wasn't a high level number 9 in New England, and they bring him in. He's been injured. He hasn't
played.
Yeah, this team, no manager could be successful with this group of players. And listen, it's no, that's a little harsh on the players because you have a lot of young players and you have a decent amount of injuries. But when we talk about the new MLS 4.0, 5.0, whatever you want to call this iteration of MLS, CF Montreal is not good enough to compete, and no coach was going to make that better. So I think it's incredibly harsh. I thought that Laurent Courtois was doing the best with what he could. I don't know what the ownership group is looking for. I really don't. So I'm disappointed in the decision, to say the least.
Gordo, you have 4 clubs at the bottom of the league right now. You have New England, Kansas City, Toronto, and Montreal, all sitting in a similar place, which is basically irrelevant after 5 games. How much pressure does this decision right now put on New England, KC, and Toronto?
Hopefully not a lot, because I'm with Dax. I think it's stupid. I think there's, you could either say ridiculous or you could say stupid. It just goes to show you that, like, what was the plan? Like, what was the plan? Like going into the off season,
or what is the plan now?
Well, you're right. Like, you got to be thinking, okay, they're sitting at a table. They're like, okay, we're going to see what happens in the first 5 games next year. We really don't like him, but we'll give him 5 games to see how he does.
We'll give him 5 road games to really see what this team's all about.
And then if he doesn't do good, then we're going to let him go. Like, this just looks really poor on the front office of Montreal, and it's half the reason that they don't win. They do dumb things like this, and so, like, you gotta at least, if you're gonna have one of those plays in mind, you got to be saying, we're gonna get let's see what happens until the summer. Not the first five games. I think it's ridiculous. So to answer your question, I don't think it's going to put any pressure. Any added pressure on any of the other clubs to fire their coach, 10 games into a season. Hopefully they have a better plan, and we're talking about, like, Caleb Porter. What is the plan with them? Hopefully they have one, like, and it shouldn't be a 5-game span of games that on the road that you're making that decision. I think it's stupid.
So you don't think that it increases the temperature of the boiling water in the pot for any of those coaches? Like, even, I'm not saying that they're going to make a decision after game 6, but I'm saying, like, does that really does it shorten the leash just for those other 3 at all?
I hope not. I hope that they have a better play, but because I think it's a ridiculous move. I don't think, if it was right before the summer and he had been given some time, then that puts the pressure on. Yeah, but this one I think this one kind of gets thrown out the window for me because it is so dumb. Like, 5 games in.
So you guys are calling it ridiculous and stupid, which I can't really say I disagree with at all. I think I agree with both of you, but I want to ask you, Dax, we've seen, I think, ridiculous decision-making out of CF Montreal in the past. The ownership group hasn't changed. Is this an ownership decision, or is this a front office decision?
Gargs, who knows? Who knows? Honestly, how can I speak in an educated fashion as an analyst of MLS about Montreal when this is just their MO? This is their pattern. It doesn't seem. I don't think they've had a coach start a 3rd season in Montreal. I think Tom Bogert tweeted something out about it. They haven't had any stability in the coaching ranks. They haven't had any transfer spend for DPs since 2014. They've spent $0 on designated players since 2014. That's 11 years in this day and age in MLS.
Yeah.
How do you expect to compete? Like, what's your end game? That for me, that just it doesn't equate. Like 1 + 1 = 10 here. Like, there's
the math ain't mathin'. It does seem like a very emotional decision, which is
this is where I was going to go with it, Gargs. I was going to say that the only thing that makes sense, because forget about the stuff that's happening on the field, the only thing that makes sense is that maybe this is like a pissing contest between manager and front office, or manager and ownership, saying, like, give me more, like, I need more, right? And maybe they're just like, nope, that's it. If you can't deal with it, then you're out. Like, I don't see how anything else makes sense. Laurent Courtois, every time I see him speak in the media, how he handled the Joseph Martinez spat that he had with him, he always handles things in a very, like, quiet, cool, calm, professional manner. He doesn't seem like, he seems very respectful. I just don't get it. I don't see any coach who knows what the history of CF Montreal, any good coach that would be like, oh, the CF Montreal job's open, let me run to throw my name in the hat over there. I don't see it.
It's interesting. They are on the road for 7 games because they're making upgrades to their stadium, right? So Saputo is spending some amount of dollars to increase the experience in Montreal, but your points are all valid. They really have not spent on players in a very long time, and that's no disrespect to the players that are there. As much as we want to be able to say that we're all great players, you still need greatness around you to succeed, right? And they haven't supported that team in that way.
You need game changers.
You need game changers.
They have good soccer players. They have good footballers. Like, I really like Nathan Saliba. I really like Bryce Duke. I think Caden Clark has talent.
Petit is fantastic too.
Piet, not Petit.
Piet. Yes.
We're not talking about prime '98 French national team here. Okay?
Dude, I like Piet. They do have. You're right though. Like they have some good young players.
They have good players. They have guys who I think are willing to work hard. You don't have any game changers. That's not opinion. That's a fact. So really
it's not a recipe success. You know who does have game changers? The U.S. men's national team.
Do they?
Supposedly. We're shifting gears because this is the hot button topic of the minute, and I have mixed emotions here. So I'm gonna save my emotions because I want to hear. I know that you guys have already chatted a little bit about this, Dax. I know that you're on record on a number of platforms in a couple different ways, which I'm sure your opinion has probably coalesced into something cohesive that you're going to deliver us right now. But I want to start with Gordo because I know you watched the game, Gordo, and you're connected to the national team. You're also connected to Landon Donovan, who had some pretty specific remarks about the team. I took that a couple different ways just from him, but I wanted to hear how you reacted both to watching the game and then also seeing Landon's comments. Where did your head go?
Okay with Landon's comments. I'm okay with what Clint Dempsey was saying too. These guys are frustrated. These were our captains, our guys that took a stronghold of the national team for over a decade and, poured their heart and soul into this team, and all the things that they've been through. I think they have the right to be very, very frustrated at the state of the U.S. men's national team. From my perspective, sitting on the couch, I got sad. I wasn't even mad. I was sad. I was sad that, you just go back.
Such a dad statement. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, it was. I was just sad. I was just like, dude, we are literally, we're almost 12 months. What are we, 14 months away from the World Cup on home soil? Like, this is something that is like super special to me, and being able to share this with my kids at a prime age. And I'm sitting here watching our team, and we're blowing it. We're blowing it, and we're lost. We're lost at sea right now, and we got 14 months to prepare. And somebody needs to dig us out, man, because I agree with I've seen everybody's comments. I agree with everything. I'm tired. I'm tired of blaming coaches. I don't want to talk about Pochettino anymore. I don't want to talk about Gregg Berhalter. I don't want to. The guy's got to do it on the field, man. And I didn't see him getting after it. They seemed disjointed, and it didn't look like they had that pride, from just watching it, So it was very sad to me. That's all I could put it.
Dax, you're given decision-making powers over the U.S. men's national team today. What's the first thing that you do?
Oh, man.
That's a good
I don't
question.
even know. What do? You take stock of, I think what I do is I call every single player and I ask them, like, hey, like, do you feel pride wearing the jersey? Like, is it listen, this is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm at with the men's national team at this point. Nobody can jump inside their hearts. Nobody can jump inside their minds. I can only look and see what happens on the field and interpret that in a certain way. When I watch the U.S. men's national team play with prime Clint Dempsey, prime Landon Donovan, Pablo Mastroeni, even back to the Chris Armas days, I didn't ever have to question if those guys wanted to be there or if they wanted to be on the field or if they were proud to represent the U.S. Now, I think that these players are proud to represent the U.S., but it almost feels Like when I watch them play, they are doing us a favor by hopping on these transatlantic flights and coming over and playing for the national team. And I don't see any real desire or passion to just kick someone and to just be like, you know what? I'm a good player. I play at the highest level in Europe, but international soccer, CONCACAF soccer, that's not what it looks like all the time. Okay? And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to maybe like put my ego to the side and I'm just going to run around and I'm just going to kick people until the game opens up and I can maybe find a chance or two. I just do not see that. It almost feels like these players feel like they're doing us a favor, but by coming over here and playing for the national team, and it's hard to accept if that's the case. Christian Pulisic talked after the game about how he loves representing the national team and about how he loves being the captain and about how it's so special and important to him. But it's in his delivery, Gargs. Like, I'm a big body language guy. It's in his delivery. It's almost just like he's uncertain to say that, or it's like he's sad to say that. And I know they just lost, but I would almost rather every word come out of his mouth be a curse word and be super pissed off and say, that's not effing good enough from me and from everyone in that locker room. And it's on us to go and prove to the rest of the country that in 14 months, this team is going to look different.
I don't know, Christian. Do you think Christian has that in him?
I don't. Thierry Henry made a great point. Thierry Henry said, "I don't know why Pochettino is trying to make this guy into something he's not. He's not a captain.
He's never been that guy.
That's not to disparage Christian. It's not in his nature. But this is Gregg Berhalter giving him the armband, trying to get more out of him, more leadership out of him. This is Pochettino giving him the armband, trying to get more out of him. It's just not it. He's just not. It's not in his nature. Stop trying to force him to be something that he's not." But again,
he's a great complementary player. He's not the guy.
I don't think No. I disagree with that. He is not a complimentary player. He is for me, he's a world-class winger. If you play him out on the left and you give
he is a world-class winger. I just don't think that he is the guy.
He's not a leader. Yeah. That's where we're at with it. He's not a leader. Just don't force him to be that guy because he's not that guy. I question, we go through these things. Like when Gregg Berhalter was the coach, the U.S. men's national team won, but they never won in convincing fashion. We talked about it ad nauseum on here.
Yeah.
They beat a bad Mexico team, the worst Mexico team we've seen in years. But you know what? They still won. It didn't. I didn't really care how it looked. Now, Gregg was the victim of his own words by saying we're going to change the way that the world looks at U.S. soccer. We're going to do that. We're going to play beautiful football, and we're going to elevate our profile. And
then we didn't do it. Right.
And they didn't do that. They didn't do that. And the players started drinking their own Kool-Aid and saying, well, we're this new young generation, and the 2022 World Cup, we're going to qualify, and we're going to do all these great things, right? And listen, they did okay. Like, they won a couple Nations Leagues, never looked great, but they still won. They got out of their group at the World Cup, didn't look great, but they still got out of their group, and it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. The only thing we ever saw, the only narrative we saw from hardcore national team fans was a better coach, a world-class coach would be better for these players.
Would do more with these players, right? And now we have a world-class coach with world-class players.
Nonsense.
Right.
And I don't necessarily like Mauricio Pochettino, Gordo. I to your point, I understand why you said it. He deserves criticism because the way he set this team up in 2 games didn't look right. He was playing Yunus Musa as a wingback. He was playing Pulisic in the middle. Like, he played 3 defensive midfielders in the semifinal against Panama. Like, why? His substitutions, he put Jack McGlynn, no problem with Jack McGlynn. He's a good player. He had Gio Reyna and Diego Luna, who played great in the 3rd place game, on the bench. He doesn't put him in against Panama because he's coaching scared. Why is that? I don't have any idea. So Pochettino deserves blame. But I'm sick of letting these players off the hook. Right. Who cares how the coach sets you up? And if you're playing against Panama at home, these players, when is the last time these players went on the road in Europe or in South America and played in a really tough environment? They only play home games. They only play in the U.S.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just insane. It's just insane to me. And so, look, this is on the players. For 14 straight months, they have to go back to their club teams and they have to figure out what it's going to take to get better. It's horrible. It's rock bottom right now. Can they somehow make a run in the World Cup? Sure. I think if they get a fortunate group, I think they can make a little bit of a run in the World Cup. But right now, They need a dose of humility. That's where I'm at with this team. Yeah. Humble yourselves. How many failures do you have to go through before you humble yourself and you take some pride wearing the jersey?
Yeah, I think that's fair criticism. I don't see any problem with that at all. I want to ask a question, though, because some of the things that you guys are talking about, I think the landscape of soccer in the world has changed. Obviously, the complexion of our players has changed. But when I think about this, and the three of us disagreed on what this CONCACAF Nations Cup actually, like, is there any significance to it? And I think both of you said no matter what, you're playing for the U.S. men's national team, it matters. My opinion was this is just another made up event that we're to sell tickets, and it feels very just plastic. It all feels plastic. And I saw Taylor Twellman's picture before the game of how many people were there to see this is the third place game, right? But at SoFi, nobody there. So my question, and Gordo, I want you to touch on this first. Is there a fatigue here? Because now we have, when I think about the last iteration of U.S. men's national team players, a lot of it was sprinkled in with MLS. And when you would leave MLS, that environment, to go and play for the national team, man, it was a big step up, right? It was a major jump from the environments that we were traveling in, right, to then wear the crest and have that honor. We now have all of these big time players that are playing in Europe coming back into U.S. men's national team environments where, to be fair, they're not great. And this isn't talking shit on the fans. I'm just talking about in general. I feel like there is just a fatigue across the board of all of this stuff being jammed down your throat. All the games, all the events, all the super important stuff that we have going on, where is there a mentality here from these players where it's just another game? It's just another transcontinental flight. It's just another time to walk out on the field, wave their hands. And I know that might sound disingenuous. I understand that, because all of the things that you guys are saying, it is an honor to wear the badge. And I don't discredit that whatsoever. But is this a step back for them at this point? Is it going over and playing at Juve where there's actually real pressure, or at Chelsea or wherever, and then coming back into an environment where you're playing at SoFi for a third place meaningless trophy that is completely pointless? Are you able to translate those mentalities to then go back up and raise your level? Like, does that translate in your brain at all, Gordo?
Here's the thing. I will echo what Dak said. There's no way that we can know what's in their hearts and in their heads, right? We can't. I cannot speculate how or what they feel. What I do know is every other country in the world, all the top tier, top first and second tier, have world-class players, and they go back to they do the same thing.
They do, but they don't go in. I don't think they go into an environments where they go back for Euro Cups, and they go back for friendlies that are meaningful,
dude,
and they go back.
No. Come
on.
Listen,
are we at any risk of not qualifying? We're really not, even though we threw it out the window the one time. But are we really at risk? We're not. These games are not. Every European country, every South American country, they are all at risk of not qualifying unless they show up and play to the 10 out of 10 ability.
To that point, Gargs, to that point, don't you think these players would realize there are not that many real games to play? So,
right.
Dude, I'm not letting play in an important game.
I'm not letting the players off the hook here. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just trying to figure out why we are seeing what we are seeing, because you're right. You can't get in their heads or hearts, but we can see what we see, and what we're seeing is a deflated group that is uninspired.
But that's the point. I don't want players that are uninspired. I want players that are going to be proud to represent the national team, whether they're playing in front of 80,000 people or whether they're playing in front of 100 people.
Okay, good. So let me go back to my original question.
That's why Landon said what he said. If you don't want to come here and play with everything you have, then deny the invite.
Right. Then don't. Then decline the invite. Right. And I get that. So I go back to here's where we are. We are here, right? So what is step number one? Because we only have 14 months to fix this. It's a big window, but it's a small window.
Step number one, I would be is there any way I can clone Diego Luna and just throw 11 Diego Lunas out there to run around and just kick people and do cool stuff?
So
Because
yes, you can. There are those players.
that's my thing is like enough with the MLS versus Europe debate. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. Pochettino, thank you, Pochettino, for coming in here and showing that you at least don't have an agenda. And everyone's like, oh, Gregg has an agenda. He's got an MLS agenda. Well, what about Pochettino? You think Pochettino, a guy who has zero loyalty to MLS, is just going to all of a sudden be like, man, okay, Don Garber called me. I'm just going to call up all these MLS players. No.
Right. He's a mercenary. He is here for a job.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care where you play. He just wants you to do a job. So thank you for that, because let's put that to bed. I just want players who just want to represent the country. Like I don't know how you figure that out. But you make the phone call and you say, hey, listen, we got 14 months till the World Cup. Like, can I count on you? Can I rely on you? Can I trust you? Like, there's no other options. Like, you don't have any other options. And by the way, these games are very important. I know you say, Gargs, they feel manufactured. Those games were really important because it's real and there's a trophy on the line. And by the way, a third place game that no one cares about, like, I care. We're playing Canada. We're playing Jesse Marsh, a guy who wanted the U.S. job, and you know he's going to want to kick our ass.
I care. I do care. I'm just saying, based on what we are witnessing, I don't know if those players care. I don't like. It doesn't seem like it. It does not seem like it.
To me, clean slate. I don't. It doesn't matter where you're playing. Like, get on the field. Go play. Like Matt Turner. Go play. Leave where Matt Turner. If you don't leave where you're at right now because you're a backup, you're not coming to the World Cup. Gio Reyna, if you don't leave Dortmund and you don't go get regular minutes, you're not coming to the World Cup. Like, all these guys who are in Europe who have talent, which we've talked about Gio Reyna a ton. Sure, he's got talent. Mauricio Pochettino is like, how can I play this guy? He plays 5 minutes at the end of every Dortmund game. Like, he's not fit enough to do what I want him to do.
Right.
So go get a better club situation where maybe you take a step down a level, but you're going to play more games. You're going to be more important part of your team. Like,
so I think the humility aspect is a big one, but where I go back to my step number one would be you have to change the complexion of the roster, and you have to bring in the Diego Lunas, and you have to give them the keys, because if Gio Reyna isn't going to feel some type of hurt, he's not going to show up and give you anything more than he gives you right now. And that's where I think you're spot on here, Dax. I don't think that Poch has any type of agenda. He has to win games, and he has to win games in this country, or he will be looked at as a failure. Step number one right now is get your team right. And he's got to get his team right. He's got to get his roster right. Gooch has got to do some real work on bringing in some more players to change the complexion, to change that mentality. Because the mentality is dog shit. Yes. It's dog shit. And I don't think that these players don't care about playing for the country.
I think they care.
I think they care. But I don't think that they feel any sense of urgency that they might lose their place in 2026.
That's the point.
That is not a healthy place.
That's a great point. We didn't qualify in 2018, so it was like, nope, out with all the old guys. And now we're going to give the keys to all these young up-and-coming guys who we think have the potential to be great. And you know what they did for 4 years? They played okay. They played pretty good. They grew. They were young. They made mistakes. They qualified for the World Cup. And then it was almost this whole expectation. 2022, we got out of the group. Now we're going to use that same core group of players, regardless of form. Regardless of form. We're going to use that same
We
group.
removed the competitive aspect within our own player pool. And that is a death sentence.
Correct. And that's the problem. And that's where that's probably the best point that you've ever made on Major League Journeymen.
Hey, mark it.
Really
mark
good.
it, Donnie.
Really good. But for me, that's the best point that you can make because, hey, guess what? Christian Pulisic, you are a world-class player, in my opinion. You're the best player the U.S. has. You're about to have to fight for your place. You play at Juve. You
might not come in.
What? Yeah, guess what? You might be on the bench. I might call you in for the Gold Cup, and you might be on the bench. How are you going to react? How are you going to handle it? Let me see you go deal with some adversity. Because I feel like a bunch of these players, a bunch of these core group of players that we rely on, hey, there's a sense of entitlement that, you know what, I need to be on the field regardless of how hard I work or how hard I try or if I play bad or if I'm playing at my club team. Nope. Got it. Cut that out right now.
You know, you said something about playing scared or acting scared, right? Managing scared. Poch is managing scared. Gordo, you said it. the thing that I think U.S. soccer right now is doing is they are managing these expectations in a scared way instead of being very proactive and being aggressive here. Because here's the reality. The chances that the U.S. get out of their group, whether they put the Des Moine Menace on the field or the entire Borussia Dortmund team, they're going to get out of the group. It's like an expansion side. An expansion side feeds off the energy. This U.S. World Cup, no matter who the 11 are, no matter who the 18 are, they're going to get out of the group. We've seen it every single World Cup. And it doesn't matter if you have 2 left feet. You are going to get out of the group. Why not risk it? Why not be aggressive? Why not bring in these kids and put a fire under a Weston McKennie, put a fire under Christian Pulisic? Because realistically, as long as they get out of the group, the World Cup is a success. It's a success.
Yeah. Agreed.
So who cares? And you have that trump card. But now here we are. We're allowing our player pool to just get stagnant, and that is a very unhealthy place to be. The Des Moines Menace, though, does have some up-and-coming players here. Dax.
Great transition, buddy.
Dax, I cannot believe actually, Gordo, can you put for once put on your analyst hat here? And I know that we can't get into players' minds and hearts here, but what the hell was Dax thinking signing up for the Des Moines Menace to play in the U.S. Open Cup? What is going on in his brain?
Talk about taking a step back. Jeez. I mean, the guy just retired yesterday, and he's going to play for the Des Moines Menace, dude.
Dude, he already can't handle it.
You act like you still got something to prove, dude. What are you doing?
Listen,
dude, and not only did he go to play for the Des Moines Menace, Dax is the youngest guy of the group of the geriatrics. He brought all his older friends with him.
I'm the guy that's supposed to play 90. That's the problem.
It's just you ran 100 million miles in your career, and you're going to do more. He wants to do more.
I don't. This is how it went down, Gordo. You haven't played in TST the last 2 years because you're decrepit and you're back.
He's got 3 fake hips. He's already had 3 hip surgeries.
You've got 6 infused vertebrae back there, but you know how it is. Like Sash and Brad with 360, like they're friends of mine. We're old teammates, and Sash played last year, and he said that it was a great experience, and he wanted to put some buzz around the Open Cup again. And so he asked me and Brad to play, and I said, look, I'm not playing. The only way I'll play is if Brad plays. And Brad is the least committed individual of all time. Like, trying to get him to commit to lunch is like pulling teeth. So the fact that Brad actually committed, I had to say yes. And Des Moines, listen, you guys, there's some personal factors going on, you know. My wife, Jen, she's got some connections in Des Moines. She works with some farmers there, and like she thought it would be cool if we could get a home game. And so all that just kind of added up to like, okay, like why not? You know, why not? And the best part is, Gordo, is I don't have to train. Okay, I don't have to go to training every day. I can show up for the game.
Dude, you're actually just describing Gordo's last 6 years of his career.
Exactly. Gordo never played. But listen, man, we weren't good. I posted a video that the MLS Productions team put together of all of us just basically kicking each other and falling.
Oh,
over.
Dude, I saw that. That was really well done. That might have been one of the better pieces of content that MLS has put out in a while.
It brought tears to my eyes watching that again, because Brad said it so perfectly. First of all, it was miserable conditions in Kansas City. It was 30 degrees. It was a wintry mix / sleet, just smashing us in the face the entire first half. 50-mile-an-hour winds. It was, you could not. Mother Nature herself could not have concocted a worse, like, smorgasbord of conditions to throw us old guys into. And add on to the fact that these kids, these 20-year-olds, were running around reckless. I heard numerous times, "Keep going, boys, they're geriatric." I heard in the second half,
they weren't wrong.
No, they weren't wrong. That's why I didn't take the bait. They were trying to get me to bite, and I wasn't biting because I was laughing. I was like, you guys are right. I heard, let's just get it to extra time. They're going to die. If they would have equalized, by the way, if they would have scored a second goal, there were intrusive thoughts going into my head about potentially just scoring an own goal, and couldn't deal with extra time. honestly. But listen, it was all that put together. Gordo, you know how it is. Like the camaraderie, the sense of purpose, the locker room, like that stuff. I retired from the running part of it. I miss that other part, that locker room part. That stuff you can't replace, and I love that. That was great. But honestly, it's those Sporting Kansas City 2 kids should be really proud because they dominated us. Like we did not play well. They played well. We got some penalty kicks. They had trouble breaking us down because we were parking the bus. But I'm so proud of where soccer's at in this country that a second team of kids of 18 to 20, 22-year-olds can step on the field and just dominate a pretty good team of ex-pros who, like, yeah, we're not fit, but like we're still pretty good players. So those kids were great, man. I want to really make sure that I emphasize how good of a team they have and how I think MLS Next Pro is in a really good spot. That's kind of what I took from it.
Nice.
When's the next game?
April 2nd in Des Moines, Iowa. Maybe the Journeymen want to make a trip. Actually, the storylines, guys, storylines. I'm in TV now. Storylines are everything.
Yeah, let's hear it. What's the storyline?
We play Union Omaha, who knocked Des Moines Menace out of the Open Cup last year.
Oh, I like it.
Good little storyline there.
I
And it's
like
in Des Moines.
it.
I think that they're gonna have a really big crowd. I think I
did miss an email from Union Omaha. That they may be trying to pull me out of.
It can't be
retirement.
too far. Listen, I'm not going to profess to know my geography that well. St. Louis can't be that far away.
I gotta look that up. I think it's probably like everything from St. Louis is 4 hours away, 4 to 5 hours. You can get it's kind of like the East Coast. Everything's 2 hours
Gordo
away.
doesn't travel anymore, but maybe we could convince him. Maybe let's call Sandy, see what she says.
Gordo can barely get himself to the coffee shop these days.
It was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen the video that I referenced on social media, please go on my Instagram and just laugh. It will bring you to tears. They did such a good job.
I can't believe I missed this. I need to check it out.
Go look at it.
Bradley
Wright Phillips is running around like a bowling ball. Dude is just fouling every kid out there.
Did he score?
What? He didn't score. He didn't have a shot.
Sash had 2 PKs, right?
Sash had 2 penalties. Guys, we were terrible. Terrible. Like awful.
That's
We were
great.
terrible.
Hey,
Who's
what
the
do they
coach?
do with
Charlie Latshaw. He's a great dude. It's essentially he's the head coach in practice, and then you got Benny Feilhaber and Sasha Kleshton helping, run things. They recruited everyone, so we'll see. We might have some new names playing in this next round. I'm not.
Oh,
sure.
you can adjust the roster.
active recruiting?
Some guys might not be able to play. Like some guys have real lives and real jobs they've got to get back to. So
okay. That makes sense. All right. I want to hear, we did have an awful lot going on in the league this weekend. So in where we're at in this episode, Gordo, I want Gordo and Dex, one thought each on the weekend that was in Major League Soccer. I'll start with you, Gordo. What do you got?
San Jose starts hot, and now they've gotten a little cold. What's Bruce going to do? I saw the old man on the sideline, and he looks like a mad scientist. I love when he gets pissed, but no doubt he'll figure something out. But
Gordo, let me ask you a question about San Jose real fast. Bruce Arena started the season 2 wins. Now they have 3 consecutive losses. He was playing a formation and a system that you know as well as I do he never played, and he's not super comfortable playing with 3 center backs, a 3-5-2, if you will.
That's not Bruce at all.
So he played that way to get Joseph and Chicho on the field.
Right.
3 consecutive losses. They didn't have Joseph against Charlotte. Do you think he sticks with that formation and that system, or do you think he changes it?
Dude, their back line was shambles.
They were very bad defensively.
This is an easy one. I'll let you take it, Gordo. But this was a layup for Bruce to change it.
One thing I know about Bruce is Bruce doesn't panic, and it's part of the why he's good. You know, he's had more than a few really slow starts to championship seasons. You know, Galaxy used to do it every single year. It was they would lose their first 10 games and they'd get hot at the right time. So, I mean, if he's tinkering with something, I think he stays with it. He's going to want to get those 2 studs on the field at the same time. He's just got to figure it out.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I think that Bruce will figure it out, but I think he should change it.
I don't think he stays with three in the back though. I don't know if he's got the personnel. I don't know. It didn't look great against Charlotte, and Charlotte's obviously a decent side, but they were open all over the place. And Bruce's teams typically don't travel well West Coast to East Coast. It was rare that we got a great result on the East Coast because I think Bruce doesn't travel well either. So when that happens, I could see there being some adjustments here now heading back into San Jose to tinker with what his side looks. Dax, what do you got?
Oh man, I got so much. I don't want to limit it to just one, but I'm gonna give, since this is a very national team centric pod. I want to give Gregg Berhalter a lot of credit for what he's done in Chicago, because we did talk about before the season started, was this a good hire for Chicago after his time with the national team? And we all agreed pretty much unequivocally that this was going to be a great hire for Chicago and that he was going to turn that franchise around. We didn't think it would be as quick as it has been. 3 consecutive road games, 3 wins, 9 points. So that's nothing. I don't care who you are. That's not easy to do. And I also want to make a point about Gregg, about his coaching tree. You guys know as well as I do, Bruce Arena, he has a coaching tree, and he influenced so much of the coaching in the mid 90s to the early 2000s. Bob Bradley, he had a coaching tree. He influenced so much of the coaching in the 2010s to the later 2000s. Gregg Berhalter's doing the same thing, guys. He's doing the exact same thing with BJ Callahan in Nashville, with Mikey Veras in San Diego, and with Nico Estevez in Austin. All 3 teams in the playoff places right now started the season well. Gregg Berhalter deserves a lot of credit, and we all agreed. I think I'm on record as saying I think his time with the national team, it should have come to an end. I think that was the right decision from the federation. I think his time with the national team ran its course. That doesn't mean he's not a good coach, and that doesn't mean that he won't be successful with the Chicago Fire. And now what we're seeing with Pochettino and with this group of players, maybe we should reflect on his time with the national team and look back on it as more of a success than he's given credit for. So I want to say, look, Chicago Fire, 3 consecutive road games, victories. They look like they're the real deal.
Yeah, they do. It's a great start. It's a great start for Gregg. I don't think anybody thought it was going to be less than maybe what it is, but 3 consecutive road wins is big time for any franchise. And for the Chicago Fire to finally find some positive momentum is a big deal. So
what you got, Garbs? You got one for us?
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna stick with the hometown squad here in St. Louis and going to Philly and losing to a Philadelphia Union side that picked up another win, down I think 5 or 6 starters. But also, did you guys see
revenge game?
Did you see the spat Klaus and Carnell?
I saw the picture.
Yeah, didn't look great. Carnell's goal scorer, Klaus's former coach, a little extra juice there was. And I know that you said you like St. Louis, Dax. I'm watching their setup and I'm watching the way that they're defending. I don't see a lot of opportunities for them to score goals. And if you can't score goals, if you're not creating chances, you're going to struggle defensively. Yeah. And I don't care how great your defenders are. The amount of pressure that they have on top of them, and Philadelphia Union, to be fair, is not a possession team, but they sat on top of St. Louis's box and just peppered them all game long.
St. Louis couldn't play out.
They couldn't do anything. And that is not a long-term recipe for success. So I'm not entirely sure which direction their side is heading in, but it does seem young in whatever that planning is, and I'm interested to see which direction they head in.
I like that you referenced that game because I want to plug Onside here, the MLS documentary. If you guys haven't watched it, I'm telling you, it's really good.
I saw the first episode. I did see the first episode.
Okay, well, you need to watch all of them because they have an episode where it's about St. Louis and
it's about getting rid of Carnell, right?
And Parker, and they have the conversations about getting rid of Carnell. So if you watch that and then you see the context of that game that was played, we interviewed Bradley Carnell before the game on MLS Countdown.
What did he say? It's just another game?
He said it was just another game, and he had a cheeky grin. And right after his interview was over, me and Brad were laughing like, it's not just another game.
Nah.
He wants to kill them. And then you see after the game, him and Klaus getting after it. Like, This is what MLS needs, guys. We need stories. Like, we need the behind the scenes stuff. You need to have like big, bold personalities on camera so fans, you can invite them in and like, dude, you get a behind the scenes look, Gargs, of the ownership group and the conversations that they have, and the sporting director talking about potentially going in a different direction. This is what we want, man.
That's great.
You have to watch it. You guys have to watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, I love it. I will check it out just for you, Dex. You sold me. That was a great pitch. You should put your MLS jacket on now because you are doing the Lord's work right now. I appreciate you. Gordo, flawless today. Dax, extra special. This was a great episode. We appreciate you guys jumping in. Catch us on social media. We'll be out there. Journeymen, adios.